landed. He's played that song. Breaking the news, Hall of Fame on the line. With Connie's recipes.
Check 1, 2. Check. 2, check 1, 2.
Central lights gathered, the show survives. He's the voice of barbecue, the Godfather's call. Legends and pit masters, he's interviewed them all. Get in the smoke, let the fire take hold. Raise your lighter, stories told. Barbecue thunder, the spotlights glow. Rocking the pit on the barbecue show. 17 years and still going strong. White whales landed. He's played that song. Breaking the news, Hall of Fame on the line. With Connie's recipes, the stars align. He's the flame that never dies, a barbecue hero with fire in his eyes. Get in the smoke, let the fire take hold. Raise your lighter, stories told. Barbecue thunder, the spotlights glow. Rocking the pit on the barbecue show.
Pod! This is Meat Mitch, and you're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Start the game! Let's go!
We'll do it live. Okay. Well, do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike the match, and... Oh! Should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
All right, good evening and welcome to the really big Barbecue Central Show. This is the show that talks about all things that are important to the world of barbecue and grilling. This show originating from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city, Bomb City, USA, Cleveland, Ohio, the barbecue capital of the North Coast. I am your program host, Greg Rempe. Happy to have you aboard here on your Tuesday evenings, a live fire, fun, and frivolity show. If you would like to get in contact with the show this evening, or you would like to follow the show during off-show hours, here's how you do all that.
You can get in touch with the show by sending an email to Greg at bbqcentralshow.com. Follow us on all the social media channels at BBQ Central Show. And be sure to subscribe to the show podcast feed on your favorite podcast platform.
Anything else you want to find out about the show can be found at the main website. And here's what's happening coming up in about 12 minutes from now. Oh.
Shit.
It is the first Tuesday of a brand new month, and that can only mean a visit from our pal Malcom Reed over at How to Barbecue, right? Plenty to talk about from a topics standpoint. I'm not even going to risk this. Stand by. Stand by. All right, now we have fixed the situation. Look, 10 minutes ago, this show was not happening. There was an issue with the board not coming up the way it needs to come up, and just shy of me resetting my iPad interface where I saw the Wi-Fi connection being made to the iPad, I didn't think there was any way that sound was going to make it through this microphone and into the board and then out to the internet. So I was getting ready to thumb out, hey, show's canceled because looks like I need a new mixer. However, we can control it with the iPad. So luckily, that's a good thing. And then I forgot to put the piss box on top of it. And then, of course, Charlie came in and started standing on top of the mixer. We can't have that. That could lead to all kinds of complications. So quick break to put the piss box on top, and now we are off and running. So I had mentioned Malcom Reed is in tonight, and then following Malcom Reed for his first quarterly appearance here in 2026, our pal Mike Lang from Another Pint Please. And that will bring a close to the first hour. Then we'll move to the second hour, where you will find another YouTube media sensation and a dear friend of mine, Sam the Cooking Guy. And to close it out, coming out of the proverbial bullpen, one of our favorite new guests here over the last year or so, and here to introduce a new cigar, Senior VP of Marketing and Sales, Amanda Micallef from Micallef Cigars. Looking forward to seeing what Amanda will be unveiling. Although I do have a little insider's information, but if you are a fan of Micallef Cigars, you are a fan of the Color Series that I have been sampling out here low these many times, you are definitely going to want to stay tuned to the end of the show or grab the replay on Thursday when it goes into the audio stream, or watch the video archive because that immediately archives after this show ends. So that's what's happening here tonight. Malcom Reed and Mike Lang, first hour. Sam the Cooking Guy, Amanda Micallef in the second hour. Don't forget you can follow me socially on Instagram and Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat, LinkedIn, all with the handle at BBQ Central Show. We say good evening to those of you watching tonight through one of the video streaming platforms. You can go over to Facebook.com/BBQ Central Show, or you can watch on YouTube, which is YouTube.com/@BBQ Central Show. We have a new YouTube poll question of the week that we're asking everybody, including all guests. It is a would you rather, so we're asking everybody tonight, would you rather spend a night in a dumpster or a night in a porta potty? And currently 71% of you are saying a dumpster. Wow. We'll see how that plays out through the remaining minutes of the show. Results from the poll question last week. Would you rather give up sex for a year or your cell phone for a year? And 63% of you said you would rather give up the phone. What is wrong with you? No, wait, that is the right answer, by the way. Yes, you do want to give up the phone. Don't give up sex. I mean, what are you, maniacs? Again, I go back to almost 40% of you, and my daughter saying she was one of them, would rather give up the sex. You want to keep the phone. Outrageous. However, we will start here this evening, and many of you are saying that, indeed, you would like to see the gentleman from Georgia gaining a permanent spot on the embedded correspondence desk going forward. That, of course, being our pal Rashid Phillips. The bottom line is this. I don't disagree, and I think Rashid would be and bring a great perspective to an already esteemed opinion-making panel of Doug and Rusty and John. Rashid has good takes. Really good takes. He is unafraid to give his 100% answer on statements of the topic at hand. Now, in reality, Rashid also very busy. He does his own podcast, of course. He has his own business, travels extensively. So his availability, which is the best ability when you're asking sports people especially, to do something monthly is probably a bit constrained. That being said, I did extend a formal invitation to Rashid over the weekend to show him that there is at least genuine interest on my part to take him on as part of the embedded correspondence group. No answer back yet, and no expectation that he would be able to accommodate such a request. But he is that good. Also, a lot of reaction to the interview, and should I say first hour of last week's show, where we had the co-founder of the Barbecue World Cup, Scott Erdman, on. Everyone excited that, according to Scott, the money is locked in. Many of you loved that this is a $1 million get for the grand champion, and it's not a $1 million overall payout. The winner gets $1 million. Additionally, there will be perhaps 100 or 200,000 more dollars or so to pay out through categories and spots. So that in itself is a very big deal. But what remains a concern to me, and what hasn't been hammered out over the last 7 days, is where is this thing actually taking place in Las Vegas? We don't know that yet. And how is this thing going to be judged? We don't know that either. And that part feels like they are, or those parts, feel like they are, in a quote, flying the plane while building it. And the sooner they can secure, A, location, and also determine, B, how they are going to judge this final event, the better for all parties involved. And honestly, these would have been two things I thought would have already been locked in place before they even started promoting it. You have these two items in and the money locked in. Now you roll out all the big names in social media and the competition world and whoever else you think is going to bring you most bang for your buck when you're asking people to promote this Barbecue World Cup. But without the judging and without a location, A, you cannot continue to make plans, and B, you don't know what angle to take on how you're actually going to be cooking or what the judges might be looking for or anything along these lines. But this is where we're at the moment, and we will continue to track these items as they further develop. And if Scott would like to come back on the show to share these new things, happy to have him back on. Or if he would like to send these along for updates to the Centralites, I'm also happy to do that as well. But the money is locked down. $1 million plus. $1 million of the winner, and then an additional $100,000 or $200,000 to pay down and out. No location, no judging yet. So stay tuned on that. Malcom Reed is ready to go here in the green room. Maybe we'll get his updated take on Barbecue World Cup, and if he wouldn't mind taking in $1 million grand championship wise, I'm feeling the answer will be yes, he would love that. Before we do that, let's talk about Primo grills. What do we love about ceramic cookers? We love that they are fuel efficient. We love that you can achieve low and slow temperatures for traditional barbecue meats. We also love that you can get rip-roaring hot for the high-temperature grilling of steaks and other thin cuts. But what's missing in the everyday lineup of ceramic cookers? The real ability to do true two-zone cooking. Two-zone cooking is very important to both professional and backyard cooks alike. It's the best way to manage a fire and cook with confidence. However, getting a two-zone fire in a round ceramic cooker isn't very realistic. Why? Because it's round. Enter Primo, the game-changing oval design. The shape gives you the ability to execute that two-zone setup that you desire, also giving you the other ceramic grill benefits as well. So when you break it down, there's more than 60 different ways to cook on the Primo cooker. When you're also integrating all of the accessories and things like this. So you're only limited by your culinary imagination. They got all the accessories that you want, as I had mentioned. The bottom line is this. Do they have the best ceramics in the biz? Yes. Do they have patented technology? Indeed, they do. True two-zone cooking capabilities, as we mentioned before, multiple sizes of ovals. So, only sold through dealers, so you're going to need to do a little effort. Go to primogrill.com, find a dealer near you. Visit said dealer, touch and feel all the ovals, and then buy the one that best fits your needs. Does it have to be an XL? No, I highly recommend it. Does it have to be a double XL? No, but I highly recommend it. As I said last week, nobody's ever bought a grill that was too big and bitched that it was too big. However, many of us have decided to go on the cheap skis and then complain that we didn't buy up. No buyer's remorse here. Buy up, be happy. PrimoGrill.com is the website. Follow them on Facebook or Instagram. We are back with Malcom Reed right after this.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Broadcasting live from the Barbecue Central Show studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, welcome back. This portion of the show being brought to you by Fireboard, the innovators behind Fireboard 2, Fireboard Pro, Fireboard Spark, Fireboard Beacon, and the wireless Fireboard Pulse. Experience total control over your devices from anywhere in the world with the Fireboard app. Discover more by visiting fireboard.com or by calling 816-945-2232 today. Good folks over at Fireboard. Joining me now is the first Tuesday of the month regular guest. If you can believe it, we are starting Q3 of 2026, and there he is, Malcom Reed from How to Barbecue Right. Malcolm, we have a Would You Rather YouTube poll question of the week that we're asking everybody, including all guests. Malcolm, would you rather spend a night in a dumpster or a porta potty?
Oh, man. Okay, I got a question for you.
All right.
Did they just empty the dumpster, or did they just clean the porta toilet, or are we talking like full use?
I think for this show, we're going full use on both.
All right, I'm gonna get off in that dumpster, I guess.
Yes, all right. 67% of the people agreeing with you, Malcolm, that they also would rather spend a night in a dumpster. I am also with Malcolm. I would much rather spend a night in the dumpster. I feel like you might be able to find a corner of a dumpster that maybe isn't as pungent in olfactory emanations. You get a bad porta potty, I mean, it is the worst experience ever.
Yeah. I've seen some of those after 2 days at a barbecue contest, and they're not pleasant.
Indeed. I've seen a weekend full of one never getting sucked out at old travel softball tournaments where there were no indoor facilities, and while Friday night it was like a palace, by Sunday evening it was a literal shithole and one you didn't want to be around. So before we get into some questions here, Malcolm, let me get your updated take, if you have one, on the Barbecue World Cup. I had Scott Erdman on last week for the first hour. We talked about the securement of the $1 million payout and then additional funds that would get paid out through category and through finish spot. But there's no judging at this point, and there's no location at this point. That's what was told to us by the co-founder. So where do you weigh out or suss out any of that information?
Well, the securing the money is the important part. That's the one as a barbecue cook. You know, you want to make sure that organization has the funds it says it does. That's important. I think all that's coming. I mean, I think people are excited about it. The buzz is, everybody wants to, enter the contest. I don't know if you've seen it or not, but the ones that are announcing their qualifiers are filling up as fast as they put their application out. So they've got waiting lists for a lot of them now. And so the excitement's there. the unknown is where's it going to be. We heard Vegas, so that's a big place. There's plenty of room out there to have a barbecue contest. There's been some big ones out there before that have done really well. So I think that's exciting. And then, knowing what kind of contests you're going to cook, that's the important part. So I think the way these pit masters are now, man, people are adaptable. They're ready to go no matter what kind of contest. If it's KCBS, if it's, some kind of on-site or some kind of World Foods type, finals or something like that. I think people are still be excited about it, and it's just going to be interesting to see which direction they decide to go.
Killer Hogs kicking off the rust for this one?
Man, I don't know. I'd like to say yes, and I keep looking at my weekends, and it's like, all right, I got a weekend in June that's not booked, and it just as the weeks tick off, my weekends fill up, man. So I don't know.
That's the other unique
I have
part.
to find a way to get there.
Of course, and that's another unique part of all of this. As we were getting through the conversation last week, it sounded like there might have been somewhere between 8 to 10 domestic contests that have not been added yet. And my question to Scott was, are you taking into account if you're going to drop one in New York or Virginia, or you name the place, there's probably a handful of other barbecue contests that might be going on within 100 miles or 200 miles of that event. And I would imagine if you signed up for the New York State Barbecue Championship, but a Barbecue World Cup qualifier dropped in Killington, Vermont, you might ditch the contest in New York if you get into the one in Vermont, because that's now a Barbecue World Cup qualifier. Does that, I don't want to say this is a Smoke Slam Memphis in May kind of a thing, but I would imagine because of the increasing popularity and now a confirmed $1 million payout, you could see some barbecue contests get pulled out of because other guys want to try their hand at getting into the Barbecue World Cup.
That's kind of the bad thing about it, having limited number of competitors. You think about it, this happened back when they were doing the Sam's Clubs contest. They would announce those and they would have them at different Sam's locations, and there was local contests going on, in close proximity to those, a lot of cases, and it killed some of those contests. Some of them never came back. So there's always going to be that give and take. I mean, when you put that much money out there and you have a high prestige contest, something that everybody wants to cook for, you expect the bulk of your people to want to go cook that. And it's just, that's part of it. It's a bad nature. You hate to see any contest or any small town or any organization lose money or funds or people because of, something like that. But I think that's just part of it.
Do you think we're going to ever see Smoke Slam again?
I don't know, man. I don't want to say it was doomed from the get-go, but trying to do two contests of that scale in the same city, same weekend, one of them had to give. And they say they're coming back. They're just going to reorganize or whatever, get the funds back up, whatever it takes to do it again. But I don't know, man. It's going to be, Memphis in May is such a legendary contest, and it's got its roots, and I don't see it going away. So that's going to be a tough one. Maybe it'll come back. I'd like to see it come back and just be a different weekend, because I think you've got just as many people that would want to cook Memphis that would love to go back down there and cook another style contest. But it doesn't make any sense to try to do them in the same weekend.
I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I will give you my hot take on this whole thing as it happened over the last couple of years. I thought whoever is at MemphoFest that's behind Smoke Slam, whatever, these guys came in, tried to do, in essence, a hostile takeover of Memphis in May to a point where maybe it's a co-branded thing now, or if Memphis in May brought to you by MemphoFest, if it would have been done more behind the scenes and less aggressive, not on the same weekend, just talks behind the scenes, maybe this thing would look and feel a lot different. I think with Memphis in May moving to Liberty Park, that has hurt Memphis in May financially the last couple of years, and the taxes that are widely available online prove that out. So I think there is a monetary situation that Memphis in May continually has to evaluate. They can't exist in Liberty Park going forward, which leads me to my next question. I think we're going to see Memphis in May back in Tom Lee Park in some form or fashion next year, because as much as Memphis River Parks Partnership doesn't want to admit it, they need that contest there at the bottom of Beale Street to make everything back the way it was, sans the park not being the way it was. Yeah. Do you think that Memphis in May returns back to Tom Lee Park next year?
I would love to see it go back down there because that's where it belongs, but it's just not. I mean, they can't do it at the scale they used to because of the modifications to that part. So I don't see them changing that. They're not going to, they're not going to flatten the part back out. So if it does come back, it's going to have to be at a smaller scale, and that doesn't work either because Memphis in May is growing. I mean, they're adding, new reasons to come to it. I mean, you look at Alfregoni coming in with the whole live fire edition. I thought that was genius. Memphis in May needs something like that to draw people in, to have a reason to come. And so I don't know, maybe they do some version of it to where it's split up and they have different events at different places or something like that. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't have a good answer. There's not one because, I mean, it's not from a Cook standpoint. Liberty Park is not a bad place. It's easy to get in. There's plenty of room. There's ample parking. It's all asphalt. And then, you throw it into the Mudfest, which was Tom Lee Park at the time, and it was always a nightmare, but we did it because we loved it. And the scenery is hard to beat. So there's gives and takes on both sides, man. And it's, I don't want to see it go away. I think Memphis in May is important to barbecue. It's important to the city of Memphis, and it's, important to a lot of people that I know personally. So it's it's a big part of our lives.
Did you deep fry an Uncrustable?
I did.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at you.
That's fat boy problems right there, Greg.
What's the inspiration? Like, are you a fan of Uncrustable and you needed to kick it up a notch?
It was more of this is for TikTok. It was, you try to get some shock value on there and always think it up. And so me and Tyler are sitting around thinking of, what can we do that's crazy? We were talking about, I know you've seen this show on TV where it shows all the fair foods, and they're mostly like up in, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, these places that have awesome fairs. And they have some of the weird, every year they have new type foods and they're always deep frying something. I was like, man, we've got these shell-buy snacks for all the guys that come and help us when we film and stuff. And so there's this box of Uncrustables in the refrigerator. And I was like, man, I think I could deep fry that. I think it'd be pretty good. And so we just did it. And it was really, man, I highly recommend a deep fried Uncrustable. Now,
really?
They're not good for you. There's no possible way. But it is really good. It's really good.
Yeah, well, as soon as you add the deep frying part of it, whatever potential healthy remnants were sticking on that thing are immediately out the window.
Yeah.
But I mean, as a guy that loves to watch people cook and come up with new things, I mean, that thing was certainly attention grab. How many views did you get on?
Yeah. Oh man, it was in the millions. It was a bunch.
Wow. I had Susie Bullock on week before last, and we were talking about how they were out potentially for an investor not too long ago and didn't work out. They're looking to scale, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of this came on the heels of them really get into the products portion of this business outside of the recipes and the views and the grill squad, whatever they had. And you kind of made your way into this conversation, and so did Heath, and so did Pittman, and did you guys you and Rochelle ever talk about wanting to grow the product side of it to the point where you were looking to take on an investor? Were you ever approached about that?
Man, we get emails every day about people wanting to invest or to, bring capital into the company so you can expand your product line or
really
help you with distribution and all that. But we've been pretty careful about what we do like that. I mean, we've never, we try to, our business never was products. I mean, we didn't look at it as product. We looked at it as media, as putting out barbecue recipes and just, and so that was kind of our approach of it. And the products were just a de facto something that we were doing to pay the bills. We needed something to sell. And so we realized the products do really well, and we've done really good job of, getting distribution and spreading them around and selling them all over the world. But, one of these days I don't know if my sons, if we're going to have a second generation running the business or not, but there'll come a time where we have to make a decision what we want to do with the company. I mean, hopefully it's not any time in the near future because it still feels like we're getting started. I mean, I don't know if it's just because we stay busy or we're always, you're always on the go and you don't have really time to think about what you've done, but it still feels like, the grownups are going to show up and really show us what to do business wise.
Yeah. Bad news, Malcolm. We're the grownups.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, the other bad news is this. February 7th was the 18th year anniversary of live shows for the Barbecue Central show, then tack on 2 more years and podcasts before that. And, I'm going on 20 years of covering this industry from stem to stern in a podcast to start, and now doing it online here live for the last, almost 2 decades. So we've seen a lot change. We've seen a lot of people come. We've certainly seen a lot of people go. And I think the point I'm trying to make is for somebody who has been in it just as long as me or longer, because you were also competing and I never did any of that. It's funny to feel like you're in the chaos of every day, but if you can even pull yourself out just for 30 seconds like you did and realize how much time has actually transpired.
Yeah.
It's kind of shocking that we're kind of like 50 or approaching 50 or a little over 50, and how much longer do you want to do it?
Yeah, I mean, I had, we had this discussion today about how long you've been doing it, and I guess like 16, 17 years. I knew it was longer than, 20. I thought you were right at 20.
Yeah.
And we've been doing it 16. So you got me by a few years, but not many. And I remember when you first started, but, looking at it, I don't know, man. I turned 50 this year. Luckily, I married a younger wife. So Shell's 5 years younger than me. So I'd say I got me a young one, and she's not ready to give up yet. And so, I mean, we've got a son that's going to graduate high school. We got to put him through college. It's not going to be, it's not going to be cheap.
Yep.
And so I know I got to keep working to pay for that. So I'm looking, I've probably got at least 7, 8 more years I got to go. Well, that's going to put me, late 50s. And if I can make it to 65, man, that would be fantastic. I mean, I don't know, but I don't have a limit, man. I think as far as, the grind is what's hard. Coming and talking to you, that's the podcast stuff, making videos, all that doesn't, that's stuff that I actually enjoy. I think I would probably be doing that if it wasn't my job anyway, just because it's my passion. And so I think when you find something like that that doesn't feel like work to you, it's easier to do it and it's easier to keep on going. There's going to come a time where we want to, travel or do it. We just hope we have some years left when we get to that, but it's just, I don't know if it's in either one of us to just stop.
Has Michael shown any interest or uttered any verbiage to the fact that he might want to take it over at some point?
I know he doesn't like the camera stuff, being out front and center. That's not, he's more like his mom, more introverted, I guess. But from the business side point, he's interested in it. And he's asking questions. He's always wanted to learn. He loves, trying to do the editing and a lot of the stuff that goes on the business side that I wouldn't think he would be interested in. That's the stuff he's shown interest in. So that kind of gets me excited and hopeful. I would never push him to do it because it's not easy. When running your own business is really, really hard, especially when you have employees that their lives depend on you too. So it's, that part's a challenge, but man, I want him to be able to go and do whatever he wants to do. I don't want him to feel forced.
I'm going to ask you and Sam the same question here tonight, because both of you are right on the cusp of breaking into whatever the next millionth subscriber is for you. So it's coming up for 2 million on you. You're at 1.9 currently. And I think Sam is at 3.86, just getting ready to crest over into 4. But as I look at numbers and I look at how many, because I do it every month, right? Malcom Reed has got this many million subscribers as of this date. Across YouTube, it seems to have really throttled back on where I used to see you and Sam gain each and every month, and it was like hundreds of thousands of followers, it seemed like. And you could guarantee that you were going to get 500,000 by half the year and perhaps into another million by the end of a year. And it's not there anymore. Concerning to you at all, or are we just at a different time? And do you expect it to come back to YouTube at all?
I don't know if it's going to come back to YouTube like it was. I feel like they kind of got behind the 8 ball a little bit on the short content when you had these other platforms come on and it took off. I mean, you had a big it didn't really start with Facebook, even though Facebook is the biggest one at all. I don't know if it's bigger than YouTube, but it's huge. But we had Instagram come on, and then people really, the younger crowd flocked to Instagram, and then you had TikTok come on. And so I feel like the content is spread now. So if you're not playing on all of them, you're behind. And so where we were seeing tremendous growth on one platform, now it's kind of spread off against 4 or 5. And so the growth is still there. It's still ticking up, but where the actual videos or the content's getting viewed is changing. You have more people coming to podcasts now. Podcasts have really exploded. So I think what we're seeing is, man, the cell phones, the short form content, that's what people are viewing and that's what they're wanting to see. And so where we used to have a retention of, 6 to 7 minutes for a video, that was considered, long form back then. Now you're seeing, man, if you can get somebody's attention for 3 minutes, you're doing good. But more than likely it's under, 59 seconds. And so you have to get your point across pretty quick now. And that's tough to do in recipe videos. It's, we find our way around it, and we try to make interesting content and stuff people want to watch, but a lot of it's almost like it's clickbait. You're just trying to get someone to swipe on it, stick, and then to come back and watch it again. So it's, I don't know, YouTube's always going to be there because it's such a great resource. It catalogs everything, but I think it does a better job than any other platform being able to find what you actually want to look for. But the views just aren't what they were on that platform. For us older guys, they're not.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Malcom Reed joining us here on the show. You can find him over at How to BBQ Right, and you can see him here the first Tuesday of every month. Malcom, always appreciate the time, and we will see you in April.
In April, man. Have a good one, Greg.
Here we go. Malcom Reed right there. Always the pro, getting out on time, which I certainly appreciate. If you are not subscribed to him, shame on you. You should be. Help get him to 2 million subscribers, for crying out loud. How to BBQ Right, or at How to BBQ Right on YouTube. So Malcom is going to take a night in the dumpster over the porta pot. We'll see what Mike Lang is willing to do in just a few moments. Before we get to him, I will talk to you quickly. This just in. How bad? Oh, no. I can't read this. It's too tragic.
What?
Huh? All right, let me get back on track here. Let me talk to you about Big Papa Smokers. The competition circuit is getting ready to ignite. Elevate your barbecue game with championship flavor from Big Papa Smokers. Ensure your pantry is stocked with essentials like the award-winning Sweet Money and the indispensable brisket and steak rub. Don't let the smoke roll without being prepared. Whether you're aiming for a grand champion trophy or just mastering your backyard grill, Big Papa's delivers award-winning taste. Maybe he's got something that Jared Allen can put on his knee. How about that? We can't lose him. Get your flavor advantage now at BigPapaSmokers.com. You can use promo code REMPE26, REMPE, and then the numerals 26 at checkout for free shipping. Exclusions apply. Big Papa Smokers, real barbecue, real life. Mike Lang next.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Howard Stern, Jim Rome, Dan Patrick, and Greg Rempe. The Mountain Rushmore of talk show entertainment. Now, let's get back to the Barbecue Central Show.
All right, welcome back, and we thank Malcom Reed for joining us last segment. Out of bbqright.com. This portion of the show being brought to you by Pit Barrel Cookers. Truly one of the most unbelievable outdoor cooking devices on the planet. Available in 3 sizes with a variety of accessories. Regardless of your skill level, from beginner to professional, this is a must-have cooker to add to your collection. Go to pitbarrelcooker.com and let them know the Barbecue Central Show sent you. My next guest is back for his first quarterly appearance in 2026. You can follow him socially at Another Pint Please and on his latest account, Grillagraphers.cut. You know him from his work with industry leader Weber, his book, One Beer Grilling, and his other book, NASCAR Race Day Eats. I can't take that. That's not good. Sam, the cooking guy, calling me on the phone. I can't answer that, but calling me now cannot be good for later, but we'll continue to press through it. Did I mention NASCAR Race Day Eats? Yes. He's also an inaugural member of the Barbecue Central Show's Guest Hall of Fame all the way back in 2018, if you can believe it. Welcoming back Mike Lang to the show. Mike, I apologize. I'm not sure if I sent you the wrong link or not, but you are not Sam the cooking guy, but you will be tonight.
Oh, no worries.
I'm not going to go fix that and waste any time. Mike, we have a YouTube poll question of the week, a would you rather. Would you rather spend a night in the dumpster or a night in the porta potty?
Oh, dumpster, for sure. I can spread out.
Yeah. I agree. And I told Malcolm last segment, there's probably a corner of that dumpster that's a little less repugnant than in other areas. But if you get into, no pun intended, a shitty porta potty, there's no running from that. You are up the shit creek for real.
Yeah, you're stuck. I've been in enough dumpsters. I would definitely take the dumpster.
What are you doing in dumpsters?
Oh, when I was working. I was still on the job.
Oh, right. Dumpster dive for criminal evidence.
Dumpster diving for a reason. That's why you always keep an extra pair of boots and a pair of overalls in your car.
Yeah. Did you have like the hazmat suit thing or not? Is that just TV stuff?
No, you do for certain things. A dumpster is just not wanting to get super dirty, but don't want to ruin your nice suit.
Definitely not.
No.
So, how's this new Instagram account going? Months in at this point.
Good. It's kind of funny. I started it on a lark, which you never know. I mean,
wait,
you do the
let
same
me
thing
stop
for over
just
and
for
over.
1 second. Let me stop just for 1 second. I mean, can we please appreciate Mike Lang's whole setup? I mean, look at
Thank you.
the books on the back. There's a little Weber grill on there. Those are obviously Mike Lang hung shelves, which of course I'm envious of. You got another Weber kettle behind the back right there that's tan colored. You are just set up. What a pro! You are a pro's pro, Mike. I mean, as somebody who loves production and wishes he had half the stuff that you have behind him, I am envious and also thankful that I can have somebody of your caliber on the show quarterly.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yes. So sorry to interrupt. Go ahead with how Grillographer is going.
No, you're fine. And I will say this is the first time I've had this set up with you. Usually I've got the storage in the back.
Yep.
But if you've watched any Weber videos in the last year, plus once I've had this running, this is usually the background. So set up, ready to go. But to answer your question, I wanted a different outlet to share more behind the scenes stuff in terms of photography and videography. And I kind of wanted to do it for two reasons. Number one, I think I've gotten so much knowledge from other people online. I thought it's time I should probably share some things I've learned that I think others may appreciate. But, I also learned that I always learn things better when I teach it and I break it down and I talk about it. I taught forensic science and crime scene investigations for a good chunk of my career. And I learned just so much more by doing that besides actually doing it in the field. And I kind of took that same approach to what I'm doing with Grillographer's Cut. And it's kind of cool because I've actually connected with a whole bunch of different creators that I was not already created with, not only in the food space and some big accounts. And I appreciate their insight and communication, but also a lot of people outside of the food space. And it could have been automotive or just simply, your local videographer service. There's a lot of commonality in what we do, even if the focus of what you're shooting is completely different.
Are they asking for tips or are you guys sharing trade secrets?
It's a couple of things. One, tips. Two, also just mutual support, build your community, be a part of it. There's a community for food. There's also a community for video. And with the ability to record anything on your phone these days and grab it, that's certainly a great outlet for a lot of things. But a lot of times for things like this, I set up, I do it because I enjoy it, not because I feel it's going to, be required for whatever I'm doing, but it's because I truly enjoy it. Since I was 15 years old, stringing 2 VCRs together and a Radio Shack audio mixer to try to make videos when I was in high school, it's been a passion for a very long time.
What are some of the top tips for home cooks when they are looking to elevate their food photography and make their weekend cookouts look more magazine worthy?
Yeah, the biggest thing is lighting. And that doesn't mean you have to go out and buy fancy lighting. It simply means if the sun is out or you've got directional light from somewhere, be aware of it And then secondly, try to put that light either to the side or to the back. And smoke's a great example for that because you only see smoke if it's backlit. And in fact, I was taking some pictures just last week, and I was lucky because I was just shooting natural light. Well, actually, that's not true. I was shooting flash and natural light. However, the sun was going down and I was accenting it. And man, it looks stunning, and you can see it, and it's beautiful and it's cinematic. And I think whenever we go out to the grill, we want to capture that sort of cinematic feeling because we're excited about what we're making, and we want that to come through in the image. So if you're aware of your light and you could use that light, you're going to be better off because of it.
You've been involved in the barbecue and grilling space for decades at this point, and you have relationships with the big dogs like Weber, of course, and you do the book writing. What's the biggest trend you see emerging in our industry in 2026?
I think live fire cooking. You know, from talking, I think the open fire meetup we talked about last time with what Al's doing, the grills coming out and everything. I think that's probably going to be a big deal this year, which is cool. It's actually an area I don't have 100% efficiency in. But I'm so intrigued by it, like so many other cooking methods. But I really see that as something you're going to see more of this year. Plus, it's different. People like things that are different. It's definitely different from what we've been doing.
So I think I might have said it last time, but I feel like a lot of people are interested in watching people cook open fire, and less of a percentage or a higher percentage. I'm getting my thoughts mixed up here. So I think a lot of people want to watch that. I don't think a lot of people want to actually cook like that. Do you agree with that?
I don't know. Why do you think that? Too much work, too much effort?
I think in the end, boy, I'm getting ready to paint with a broad stroke, so I apologize to every human ever. I think with the advent and increased popularity of pellet cookers and technology, or pellet cookers coupled with technology, there's been a lot of things that a generation of new live fire cookers haven't had to learn. Don't need to learn how to make a fire, don't need to know how to maintain a fire, don't need to know how to put more air on a fire to do this, or take less air off a fire to do that, or use a choke on the chute. A lot of things that just were natural things that we had to learn back in the early 2000s when I was getting into it. And there are skills that I'm glad I have. Do I use them all the time? No. But if I'm put in a position, if I went to your house, I could cook on everything you have. And if I went to Rashid Phillips' house, I could cook on everything he had. I don't know if the generation that didn't have to learn that is able to do that. That's also where we start throwing around the term pitmaster, I suppose. So, yes, I think it looks cool. There's a lot of work there and a lot of things that you have to know how to scatter those coals around and build heat and take some heat away, and you're continually burning wood. There's a whole money wasting thing that races in my mind with that kind of stuff as well, but you're doing it a certain way, and I understand it. So I think those are the two biggest things. Again, really cool to look at, especially when you got the big fence over it and you're hanging the fruits and the meat and all that weird shit. Aesthetically pleasing to no end. Somebody like you would love the video and still shot that thing like crazy, but I don't know if, for as much as we talk about this growing popularity or trending, I don't know if we're really going to see it in backyards as much as we saw pellet cookers take over for 5 or 10 years.
Yeah, I think your point's valid. However, I also look at it, though, is that people want to be able to stand out. If you look at your average backyard guy, and let's say you live in, any town, USA, and you figure, all right, do any of my neighbors have this? No, I'm going to get it because that's the kind of guy I am. And I think you're going to see those pockets of it. You're going to see more than you did, because if you're cooking on a device like that, it's cool as shit. You know, you're going to get a crowd that's going to want to come over and see what you are doing. And I think that's going to grow, and you are going to see an increase in it. You're right to the broader point. Yeah, pellet cooking is so easy. It's great because some nights I just want to go outside, flip a switch, and still have a grilled dinner with little effort. But when it comes down to it, my favorite time is dumping, a charcoal chimney full of lit briquettes into a kettle and going from there.
So since the last time Blackstone has entered into the open fire market with their own Santa Maria style grill, I would imagine entry level price point, way more acceptable to John and Jane general public than it would be to get a Al Fragoni special at many thousands of dollars. Build quality different. I mean, two different worlds to be sure, but if we're just looking at apples and oranges, The Blackstone could get people in, dip your toe in, see if you like it, like you could with a cheaper pellet cooker when those things were really popular. Not that they aren't not popular still, but I guess I do buy into what you're talking about from a cool standpoint, and it doesn't have to break the bank, I guess, is the ultimate long way to get wherever the hell I was going. How was the NASCAR book doing for you?
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
A lot of good feedback on everything. I know a lot of different racetracks have been buying lots of copies as race season starts up from talking to the publisher. Yeah, but the response has been really nice so far. It's been great.
Any calls from Michael Jordan?
No, but I have been watching. Kelly Crandall, who was great and did all the NASCAR facts for the book. She's been out there covering the races and everything. And I'm waiting to see when she gets an interview with him because that's probably not too far away.
So Another Pint Please is a platform that we know of that is often pairing really good beers with really great food. At some point, Mike, we might get into spring-type weather. Actually, it might be tomorrow here, but it's going to be going away here shortly as we head into next week. What's a perfect food and beverage pairing that you'd recommend the audience to try this weekend?
Something with spring coming, I'm just thinking simple. So grilled chicken thighs and a nice crisp lager. I tell you what, it's not my favorite wintertime beer by far. I'm usually in the Imperial Stout area, but the end of last summer before fall, I really enjoyed a lager, and I've not done that for quite a long time. So I'm looking forward to those warmer days when you've been sweating outside, working outside, and just that wonderful effervescent taste of a lager, and not like a macro brand, but seek out something, either a German style Pilsner or any craft brewery nearby you that's got a really good Pilsner as well, or a lager. It's just, it hits the spot.
What's your take on microbrewery at this point? Has that seen its heyday and it's starting to phase out?
I think everything goes through cycles, and there's actually a couple really good accounts on beer marketing that I follow. Everything from like the price point of buying quote unquote craft beer. It's better to buy it in a 12-pack than it is in a 6-pack because the price point is much better and gets people to purchase it. But others say, well, if it comes in a 12-pack, it's not craft beer. I think there's certainly been some pullback. I think the drinking culture's changed a little bit, tastes change a little bit. Look at Sam Adams. They dug big into the Truly brand and all your hard seltzers, and that's pulled back some. Twisted Tea is big for them now, but the core brand's not what it was. But most importantly, I say drink local. I've got places around here that I love. We've lost a bunch of breweries and through Ohio, but there are still some great ones locally, and always support your local because you always want them to be there. It's that culture that to me is what it really is about.
You like Fathead?
I do like Fathead. When I'm up your way, Hartville, I always hit Fathead, yeah.
Yeah. Are they like a big little brand, or are they a big brand?
Yeah, they're bigger. I'm not sure how far their distribution is. At least, they're all throughout Ohio, obviously, I'm sure, adjacent states. So I'm not sure how far afield they get, like a Stone or something like that, or a Sam Adams. Even Rheingeist, I don't think is too far from a distribution standpoint down in Cincinnati.
Smoking any good cigars lately?
Well, you're a guest in the next hour. We'll appreciate it. I had last night. Yeah, I had the Red Label Micallef. The weather was finally good. It was 2 nights ago, and good meaning it was like 50 degrees and it wasn't snowing. But I just can't wait for a warmer day to sit outside the grill studio and light one up. It was great.
When you're going back and forth on social media and people are asking for advice, is there something common that you're seeing most often from a mistakes standpoint that home grillers are doing right now? And if it is, what's the correction they should be making?
I think it's usually a matter of sometimes food being either not cooked enough or overcooked or underseasoned. That's usually what I see. And it's not specific. A lot of times it's things you experience or from talking to people. They may be afraid to cook something too much or cook something too soon. I don't want to burn it, but also I don't want to overcook it. It's kind of a dance. So once again, get your thermometer, understand the principles of the protein that you're cooking. Chicken thighs can go much more than a chicken breast, and be aware what those limits are. And, go good with the season. I think one thing I was thinking about for this year is that cook the same things you cooked last year, but change the flavor profile. I love a lot of ethnic foods. I'm kind of on an Indian kick right now. So I've been kind of thinking, okay, well, how can I make this in line with an Indian flavor profile. More cumin, more coriander, more turmeric, curries. It's a whole world out there. And I think by using things and other ethnicities to what we normally grill is really a cool area because you know how to grill it. Let's make it taste different and go down that rabbit hole.
Do you have a stress-free grilling recipe that is your go-to during the week?
Probably smash burgers. Number one, it's family approved.
Yeah.
Number two, it's just they're so easy. You get everything ready to go and you're off the griddle in maybe 15 minutes, 10 minutes tops. They're just so good. It's kind of funny. I never would have thought I'd been that big of a fan of smash burgers at home, but that is a reoccurring meal. Past that, probably skirt steak.
Yeah. All right. Well, are you a flank steak guy too, or?
I like flank steak. I think I like skirt more. Just like flat iron, I've got to kind of be in the right mood for it. But yeah, definitely skirt steak for me. That's a winner.
Also in the Rempe household, family approved is the smash burger. So we did we did successive days of smash burgers, Saturday and Sunday last weekend. And I think I would eat them every day. It's easily my favorite burger ever. Grew up on burgers, different kinds of burgers, but I was a little late on the smash burger train, but I finally got in there on the caboose, worked my way to the front, and realized, man, I don't know what I was waiting on, but this is really great, and you can make them simply. They almost beg to be simply dressed. You can quickly get over your skis on if you're going to overtop these things, but I think the essence of a really good smash burger is very few condiments, and I know people will shit on me because I might do a little dab of ketchup, but hey, my palate, whatever, that's my 7-year-old self coming out. But I'll be damned if they're not the best burgers to date and maybe ever.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. They are truly something else that I never would imagine as well that they such frequently prepared around here. Yeah, they're great.
Anything else coming up short of a September visit for Grill Fest 2026?
No, just looking forward to getting out of this cast after a rotator cuff surgery so I can go back to normal grilling and video work. I've been kind of one-arming it lately, but that is what's on my near radar, as well as some continuing work for Board and Cheese, another one of their cheese brands, and of course Ace Hardware's Loudmouth Rubs, Weber work. And also I will be talking about a non-food related item here soon too I'll be working on, so I'm kind of excited about that.
All right, so we look forward to hearing about that. It is not Sam the cooking guy. It is indeed Mike Lang from Another Pint Please. Mike, always appreciate the time, and we'll see you in a couple months.
Greg, thanks so much. Have a great night.
You got it. Mike Lang right there. Again, anotherpintplease.com, or follow him on the social medias. You can find him on Instagram, of course, or check him out on, or should I say, and check him out on grillographers.cut. If you are an aspiring food stylist, you like to take pictures, videos, you're in that whole realm and you want to see how a real pro does it, doesn't get any better than Mike Lang. Grillographers.cut on Instagram, or Another Pint Please on Instagram, or both. Let's get rap. Let's get rap. Or let's get ready to wrap the first hour. I will check my phone and see if Sam has sent me a follow-up text message on what his call was about in the middle of the first hour. And we will go from there. Stick around, be right back.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
And we thank Mike Lang for joining us last segment. AnotherPintPlease.com is the website. At Another Pint Please is Instagram. Also on Instagram, but a completely different concept at Grillographers.cut. Grillopher. It's Grillographers.cut. Luckily, Sam the Cooking Guy did follow up with me on the phone call. Like, there's no way he thought I was going to answer the phone, right? He knows I'm in the middle of an interview. Well, we've got it sorted out. By the way, shout out to Mike Lang for the having a Micallef Red. This is a man that knows cigar flavor. And we're excited to talk about something new from Micallef. Actually, multiple new things, now that I'm thinking about it. I think you're going to be excited. If you're a fan of Micallef, and I know everybody that listens to the show is a fan of Micallef because I have fashioned you with many different samples. I was just trying to think, how do I rate 1, 2, 3? Like, what are my top 3 Micallef cigars right now? Black, red, and green. Easily. All right, we're going to step away. We'll get ready for the second hour. And when we come back, we'll get an update on the poll. That's starting to claw back to 50-50, believe it or not. And we'll run through some other things as well, give you a look at what's coming up on the Best Moments show this coming Friday. So stick around for all of that, and we'll be right back.
Hi, this is Gene Acasella from Port St. John, Florida, and you're listening to the Really Big Barbecue Central Show.
Happy to have you aboard here for the Really Big Barbecue Show.
We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Hit me!
Fine, how's it going?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
Boing.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead and he's in the crackle. Charbono! It's all about the charbono, dude!
Succulent fish. What?
He ate sushi or wieners.
But listen, Lavernius, shut your face.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seeds.
We have top men working on it right now. Top men.
And just like that, we are into the second hour. It is the Barbecue Central Show, where we only talk about the most important barbecue and grilling items of the day. If you missed the first hour, shame on you. Where were you? That's all right. We were recording, believe it or not. So you will get hour number 1 in podcast fashion audibly tomorrow. You will get hour number 2 of this show, which is taking place right this very instant on Thursday. Remember, if you are a video watcher of the show, you can watch it immediately after the show ends. Auto archives on Facebook and YouTube. And, by the way, we say good evening to those of you watching tonight through one of the video streaming platforms. You go to the aforementioned Facebook.com/BBQ Central Show, or you can also watch on YouTube, which is youtube.com/@BBQ Central Show. Sam just told me there's a story to the issue that he has. Oh, I don't like stories. So to come on this show tonight, a Sam the Cooking Guy in about 12 minutes from now, and we will close the show tonight with the Senior Vice President of Sales Marketing over at Micallef Cigars, Amanda Micallef. We have a YouTube poll question of the week, a Would You Rather YouTube poll question of the week that we're asking everybody, including all guests. Would you rather spend the night in a dumpster or a night in a porta potty? And currently 71% of you now are saying you would rather spend that night in the porta potty. I agree. Wait, you're saying you would rather spend it in the dumpster. I'm reading it right here. And I'm in my mind is just saying something else. I see it with my eyes. My mind is just puking out something that is completely contradictory to what I say. 71% of you say you would rather sleep in the dumpster, and I'm with you. I would much rather sleep in a dumpster than in a porta potty, especially if both of them are packed full. If you know what I mean, packed full. Coming up on the best moments of the Barbecue Central show in 10 minutes or less this coming Friday, episode 423, taking you back to March 22nd of 2011. And this week, we feature a gentleman by the name of Tim Bryan from a company called Green Leaf Barbecue. Now, longtime fans of the show might recognize the name Tim Bryan, especially the name Green Leaf Barbecue. Tim was a longtime giveaway sponsor of the show. In the very beginnings of the show and for years of the show, especially when the show was only an hour, the last segment of the show was called the fourth segment free-for-all, and I just put it out through the internet airwaves. If you're a barbecue and grilling company that would like to give away rubs or sauce or whatever the hell you want to give away, send me in an email. Let me know what you would like to give away. It could just be for one night only. It could be an ongoing thing. And Tim was very generous with his giving away. I believe we had a standing agreement where if I didn't have anything else to give away that week, that Tim would be the backup giveaway no matter what. And we did it for years and years. Tim was the giveaway was this wine-soaked wood chunks. He had found a niche. He was out west, east of San Francisco, I believe. And he had a banker come in one time and pitch him on this idea. And Tim was like, hey, we could probably do a couple things in process here, and we could turn these things into something barbecuers might want to try out for a different kind of wood smoke. And so part of that was being a giveaway sponsor on the show, giving away his wine-soaked wood chunks. And within the minutes of this segment, you will learn how Tim got into the business, how he originally marketed it, how he was trying to leverage barbecue bloggers of the day to promote his product and grow his business. And outside the chunks that he was selling, he also owned a barbecue supply shop, again, east of San Francisco. Are they still in business? I don't know. John, do you know they're still in business? I know you don't because you asked that at the very end. I listen. Does anybody know if Tim Bryan and Greenleaf Barbecue are still in business? Also, have you ever used wine-soaked wood chunks? And Tim's product, not necessarily one that is exclusive rights, if you will. I've actually gotten 4 or 5 different wine-soaked wood chunks of some form or fashion. Oh, here's some wine-soaked wine staves. Some of them look like they were like rectangular squares cut on a chop saw. Very nicely done. Other ones were a little bit more rustic. But Tim was one of the first, to say the least. So I'm asking you, ever used wine-soaked wood chunks in your cooking? And if you have, what were your results? John also wanted to know what your results were if you've smoked with wine-soaked wood chunks. Also, you can subscribe to the best moments of the Barbecue Central Show in 10 minutes or less by visiting this website, thebbqcentralshow.com/subscribe. Also, if you want to hear a guest or a segment that you feel has been lost in the archives, you can email John, let him know what you would like to hear. And his email address is John, Jon, Jon, at thebbqcentralshow.com. Matt R. is writing in. Hey, Greg, hope you're doing well. You mentioned a few times on the show about your tactical flashlight and knife. What model do you have for both? Well, Matt, that's a great question. Let me see if I can pull up the monitor, and we'll go to Amazon.com. This is for the tactical flashlight. Here we go, official site of Amazon. And I think we want to type in M5 tactical flashlight. So here we go. Yeah, here it is right here, everybody. This is the M5 tactical flashlight. This is the one that I carry, everyday carry for me. We can make that just a little bit bigger there. What kind of videos? It shows a truck rolling over it. See this picture here? You might think this is a little over the top, a little enhanced. I'm here to tell you that is 100% correct. This size flashlight puts out 2,030 lumens. It's a monster. If you are in the market for a tactical flashlight, and you should be, because much like carrying a pocket knife, you don't realize how much you will actually use this flashlight. By the way, there is a strobing feature, as I've showed before, where if you hold down, you can see this little button right here. If you're watching here on Facebook or YouTube, if you hold that down, that will, for like 2 or 3 seconds, that'll put it in strobe mode. And if you are on the highest light setting and you are in strobe mode, you are going to become disoriented very quickly. Also, it's got a really cool charger that is magnetic. So you can USB. So you go ahead and plug it one side into the USB for power, and then the other side. So it would be on the opposite side of where this push button is. It's got a magnetic charging port. You just stick it right on there, and takes no time to charge. I don't know if I charge it maybe once a quarter. So I'm not using it for long intervals at a time. It's got the very nice pocket clip right there. So the M5 M5 Gen 3 2030 lumens, non-aggressive knurling compact for pocket carry and low battery consumption. I love it. I love it. I love it. And then I apologize for what the knife is. I can tell you this. It is a Gerber brand knife. And I'm wondering if I didn't send Matt R. an email back. Oh, let's see. Yes. Yes. It's a Gerber assisted. Well, as luck would have it, this is the one right here. The Gerber 06 Fast. I will tell you, hard to tell how big this knife is in person, or like right here on this, unless there's probably specs on it. So it's 8.6 inches in overall length. So it's a pretty big knife. I've had smaller knives. The one that I had before I lost my other Gerber knife, and I believe that one was even $25 more expensive. But that 06 Fast, it's an assisted open. I love it. I use it all the time. As I've said many times before, you don't realize how much you will use a pocket knife until you start carrying a pocket knife. Also, you won't realize how much of a hand having a tactical flashlight comes in. Carry them in the same pocket. Doesn't look overloaded, doesn't look weird, nothing like that. Don't worry about it. Am I caught up here? No, I don't think so. Let me talk to you about Micallef cigars. You're going to hear Amanda Micallef next segment. Are you ready for a cigar experience built on history and passion? Let me tell you about Micallef Cigars, a partnership forged between Texas passion and a Cuban cigar-making dynasty whose heritage spans back to the 1930s. Whether you seek the nuanced elegance of a Migdalia or the complex power of the Leyenda, Micallef offers a symphony of flavors for every palate. And don't forget their ever-expanding color series, an unmatched smoking experience coupled with unmatched value. Each cigar handcrafted in Esteli, Nicaragua by the legendary Gomez Sanchez family. Micallef delivers tradition and quality in every draw. Taste and tradition. Visit MicallefCigars.com to find a retailer nearest you. And that is Micallef, spelled Micallef, MicallefCigars.com. And we might have a brand new color to announce in about 30 minutes time or less. But before we get to Amanda Micallef, we will talk to a Sam the Cooking Guy. Stick around. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Howard Stern, Jim Rome, Dan Patrick, and Greg Rampey. The Mountain Rushmore of talk show entertainment. Now, let's get back to the Barbecue Central Show.
All right, welcome back. It is that time of the month where we welcome in our favorite YouTube cooking personality. He is a cookbook author, multiple times. A TV show host, multiple times. He's also a Barbecue Central Show's guest Hall of Famer one time, and that's all you can really do it. Our pal, Sam the Cooking Guy. All right, Sam, we have a new Would You Rather YouTube poll question of the week, and we're asking everybody, including all guests, Sam, would you rather spend the night in a dumpster or in a porta potty?
A dumpster.
71% of the YouTube voting public is also saying that they would rather spend the night in a dumpster. I also agree with you and 71% of the YouTube voting public. As I told Mike Lang and Malcom Reed earlier, at worst, and I'm going off the assumption we're going in fully loaded dumpsters and fully loaded porta potties to choose from, I feel like I could find a less repugnant spot in a dumpster. I mean, if you're in a porta potty and it's bad, there's no hiding there. I mean, you are all in it.
Listen, I think we can make a simple generalization. There's probably no shit in a dumpster.
I don't know. I mean, if you're buying an apartment building and you have little kids that have diapers, I mean, there's going to be shit in a dumpster.
But,
maybe not
yes,
out in the open.
But they're wrapped, percentage-wise. Probably not shit.
Sam,
like
can you connect your microphone?
Am I not? Oh, boy.
Is there no microphone tonight? What happened?
No. I can't. I don't have a microphone.
Oh, no.
It's a story, but it's just a story for you.
All right. Oh, like you can't say it on the air?
No.
Oh.
I mean, yeah, I don't want to.
Oh. All right.
Listen,
is that why you were calling me in the middle of the show?
Yeah.
Did you think I was going to pick up?
I wasn't thinking. I was just panicking. I came to the realization that there wasn't going to be a microphone, and I didn't know if you, as the great, all-knowing, all-seeing Greg Rempe, would go, "Oh, that's happened 1,000 times. Just do this. Get an empty San Marzano tomato can
with string.
Hook this wire to this, and no, there would not string. Of course, that's not going to work.
Yes. Wow.
So I apologize for how I sound.
Well, I can't wait
And
to hear the story about it.
I'm the first person to call you up after, your Tuesday nights and go, what the fuck was the sound with so-and-so?
Yeah.
And you go, well, there was this problem. And so whoever calls up tomorrow, there's a problem, but I will only tell you.
All right.
And doesn't that make you feel good?
It does. I'm glad you care.
You're an exclusive club.
Yeah, I love it. Now, I made the announcement last week within. Jeez, I just lost my train of thought. Okay, sorry. I made the announcement last week in advance of the monthly embedded correspondence segment that Tennessee embedded, or should I say, current former embedded Tennessee correspondent Matt Osman has been banned from the show until he pays off his debt. Now, since this does affect you as well, I don't want to just gloss over it and not at least give you an opportunity to say something one way or the other, or if you would rather pass on it altogether, say pass, and I have plenty of other things to talk about.
No, I thought about this, and I thought not saying something would be easy. And
Sure,
I think
very
arguably some might say it's more gentlemanly. Just let it go. And I'm not going to shit on Matt. Other to say, whether it's Matt or my kids, my words are always the same. If you say you're going to do something, you do it. It doesn't matter how distasteful it might end up being. You have to be a man of your words. What do we have if not what we say?
Nothing.
If we don't have our words, if you can't count on another guy, and I say guy because the expression of man of your words, I think everybody should be like that. But really, in this case, it's man to man. If you say you're going to do something, you do it. And honestly, and we've talked about this, if Matt had called up and said, look, I in the heat of the moment, I made this statement, and now I'm finding it hard to back up with dollars. I would have said, you know what? As long as you're making an effort, in my eyes, you're 100% golden.
Yeah.
Look, I chose early on, like from the onset, not to take the money. I didn't want his money. But he wanted to give it, so we said, let's donate it to charity. And many of us on this show have been affected by cancer.
Yeah, sure.
So let's take the money and we'll put it towards cancer. If Matt had said, it's problematic right now, I can do, dude, if he'd said I could do $1 a month, I would have said, that's moving towards the goal, brother.
Yeah.
Bring it on.
What if he would have said, hey, I got caught up in the heat of the embedded correspondent. Upon further review, I've made a terrible bet. And I'm not, because it was stupid, I'm just not going to pay off. And I just want you to know that I got caught up in a moment, and hopefully you can understand, but I'm not paying off.
Yeah, I would have said the same thing. You're paying off. Or there needs to be some consequences.
Yeah, all right.
I tell my kids that. And how old is Matt? I'm probably old enough to be his father.
I can't be that far off either. I mean, he's got little kids, so I assume he's probably somewhere, let's say, mid-30s to late 30s.
So should somebody in their mid-30s need to be told that? No. But there wasn't that. There was just, I'm not going to pay it. So I'm sorry.
There wasn't even that.
Oh, there wasn't even that. Yeah. Okay. So
it was just nobody ever said anything. So.
Right. So
here's what I know. If the Barbecue Central show was called the Gambino Crime Family Central show, Matt would be dead. Months ago, Matt would have been dead. Matt would have been dead.
Listen, Matt wrote and said, hey, can we give me a call? Here's me, give me a call. I'd like to talk about this. And my first thought was, why am I making the phone call? I didn't do anything. I didn't make the statement. The thing to do as a man would have been, hey, I'd like to talk to you about this. When's a good time? Let me call you.
Yeah.
And I said, let's talk about it on the show. I mean, that's where it started.
Right.
Let's give it to Greg. Let's talk about it on the show. And he said, okay, just so you know, those are your words, which to me it sounded like some weird Gambino family threat. And those are you. Okay, you've said that now. Just you wait and see what happens.
Yeah.
And I don't think he meant it like that, obviously. And I don't actually even know what he meant, but just step up, buck a month, bro. We can all have a buck a month come out of our pocket and go towards something. Okay, what else we have?
That's it. All right. I
Good.
talked to
Okay.
Malcom Reed last hour, I should say, and the subject
I'd like
of
to meet him
YouTube.
sometime.
Yeah.
I'd like to meet him sometime.
All right,
I
hold on.
like him a lot.
I got a question.
Go ahead.
Who would you rather meet more in person? Malcom
Yeah.
Reed or me?
Oh, fuck. Come on. You, of course.
Oh, my God. He's taking so long.
What? I didn't take that
I
long.
thought you were going to be like, how could I? How could I choose?
No, of course. Of course.
All right.
I've known you way longer.
Yes.
We've never met. Yes.
Right. So we were talking
talking to
about
Malcom.
YouTube. So I said, hey, here's an interesting thing. Sam and you are getting, like, you're ever so close if you just high level look at numbers of crossing whatever the next million is. So Malcom will be crossing over the 2 million subscriber marks, which is huge.
Yeah.
And you would be you would be crossing into the 4 million subscriber mark. Now, just for a point of reference, last month, your number track was 3.86 million YouTube subscribers. And as of 3/1/2026, 3.86 million YouTube subscribers. So I'm not saying you weren't gaining anything over the month, but it didn't change the first three numbers that I'm usually reading out.
No,
are you concerned?
They don't.
Go ahead.
No. Am I concerned? No, because the YouTuber people that I talk to, we all say kind of the same thing. You hit a point and you sort of plateau, and then getting over that hump is difficult.
Yep.
What I'm going to look up a guy. Hold on, I just met him the other day.
Is his name Guga?
He's not Guga.
Is it FPS Russia?
The hell is that?
Damn. It used to be one of my favorite YouTubers, then he got banned.
No. What did he get banned for?
Too many guns, I guess.
Oh, God.
Guns bad.
Chewy. Hold on. Sam Chewy. Let me see what Sam's got. Hold on. Sam Chewy. Sam Chewy.
Sam Chewy.
He's an airline guy. He does fancy flights. He's a
like he's a passenger airline guy, or is he a pilot?
Yeah. Here. Yeah. 42 million views 8 years ago. The complete Emirates A380 first class.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Okay, he does that kind of stuff. I flew on the new this to, yeah. Would you say?
Stupid.
Well, it's stupid if you don't like it.
I love planes.
I watch that. I love watching that stuff. I love watching that stuff.
Huh.
Yeah. Love it. Anyway, we were both at an event together. And we had a chance. We had a chance to chat.
Yeah.
We were both at Korean Airlines, redid their corporate identity last year, and they're redoing all their first class lounges. So they had a private event at their brand new first class lounge in Los Angeles Thursday. There were 14 people. Friday, they had like a big influencer event with a lot of people, but the night before, there was 14 of us. Sam Chewy was there. I was there. CEO of Korean, just a small handful of people. Anyway, we talked after, and he said, so how do you feel? Basically asking me about the same thing. How do you feel about that? And I said, I feel like, we might have all had a big growth spurt during COVID. Everybody had a big growth spurt during COVID because nobody was doing anything but watching YouTube. But then you hit that place, and Do I think I'll hit? He wanted to know, do I think I'll hit 4 million? Like I asked him, will he hit? And I said, I think so. But that last mile is very difficult.
Do you think you're going to hit
what does
4
Malcom
million
this year? You want to bet me $2,000?
I'm not going to bet any money. I was just going to say, do you think you're going to get to 4 million this year?
I think it's questionable.
I do too. I hate to say it.
Yeah. Don't hate to say it. It's reality.
Oh, I want to be able to say, hey, I know a guy who has 4 million YouTube subscribers. Like that means a lot in my life.
You know a guy that has 3.86 million subscribers on YouTube. That's more than a lot of cities.
I know, but 4 million
Certainly
is a whole
more than-
different
certainly more
stratosphere.
than Cleveland, huh?
No. Said 4 million is a whole different stratosphere. 3.86 million is one. 4 million is more.
Come on.
Yeah. And I could say I know a guy like that. It really increases my status in life.
So you don't say you know me?
Yeah.
Come on, piece of shit. Now I want to meet Malcom before I meet you.
What do you mean?
That's what I want.
I'm saying this would be great for me to have you at 4 million. It would be better for me too.
I wonder if there's crossover between Malcolm's channel and mine.
Of course.
Don't say of course.
How could there not be? You do a live fire cooking show. Hello.
Some of the time.
Most of the time.
Not most of the time.
Yes, most of the time.
Don't say that.
We're like girls.
Ask your audience. Girls. I don't know. I mean, look, what's today's? I don't know what we're even doing anymore. I did a Peking duck. It hasn't aired yet. Is Malcom doing Peking duck? No. Is Malcom doing 5 things to do with leftover pizza?
No, but I'm going to ask you about that here in just 1 second before our segment time is up. Where I think there is crossover is you do use a number of different live fire implements. And if you watch a Malcom video, I would have to imagine that one of the 6 recommended for you to watch next is going to be a Sam the Cooking Guy grilling video at some point. And then they're going to watch it and you're like, oh, this guy grills too. Subscribe. And now you have crossover.
But what Malcom does, Malcom gets way deeper into the details.
Of course.
Than I do.
Yes,
way deeper.
But you're across the board cooking.
We just did something that will air next week for a sponsor. 3 different weird cuts of meat. You ever heard of Terrace Major?
Yes.
Terrace Major?
Yes.
You have?
Yes.
Oh, Merlot steak?
Yes.
Merlot steak?
You realize what show we're on, right?
Sack of shit. Fucking lying piece of crap. Anyway, the regular people that watch us don't know that. Yeah. So I use the charcoal. I use my old school $120 Weber for the pig shanks, pig wings. You know
pig wings, yeah. Love pig wings.
Yeah. So, but Malcom would have done a whole lot more explaining about getting the chimney ready and the way he spreads out the coals and the system he uses and how long they're going to be on. And for me, that was like of the segment that might have been 10 minutes, the whole charcoal part might have been 2. In Malcolm's case, it might have been 8. So I think, so the question is, does his audience that loves that detail want less detail and more nonsense, more fluff about, not fluff, but more the other stuff, what the dish can become, that kind of stuff, other things you can do with it.
Yes.
And does my audience want the increased detail? Maybe we should do something together one day. I'm probably going to meet Malcom before I meet you. That's how this is going to go.
How dare you? Or should I say?
I'm just being realistic.
How dare you?
You don't leave your little burg of Cleveland. So
what do you mean? I've been international multiple times.
To the same spot.
Why do you got to shit on my life?
I'm not shitting on your life.
Last time you shit on my mom's egg sandwich. This time you're shitting on my travel.
Wait, what did I shit on last time?
My mom's egg sandwich. Remember my parents?
I do remember
the egg sandwich.
Yes.
These people. My mom and dad, right here. My mom and dad.
I always tell you, you have handsome parents.
They are handsome.
It's one of the greatest pictures ever. That's what I have. I have 2 pounds.
That's a big panko.
Of panko.
Wow, what are you doing with that?
I got a kilogram. I think it's a kilogram.
You're gonna cover a cold piece of pizza in that and deep fry it?
This is 35 ounces.
Wow,
I got 2 pounds of panko, but good panko. I don't know if you can see how rough it is. Can you see that?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's a lot like this happens to come from, I don't know, Indonesia or something, but it's a lot like Japanese panko that they would use bread, pork, and tonkatsu, that kind of stuff. It doesn't matter.
Sam, quickly, because Amanda Micallef is backing you up and coming out of the bullpen tonight. What are we making for dinner tomorrow night?
I'll show you right now. It's my Amazon box. It just came. Ready?
If you had a pocket knife, it would be better, but all right.
Have you got... There you go. You ready? Here's what you have.
Here we go.
Hold on.
Try it again.
Mr. Micallef. Oh, Jesus. Ready? And you're having Heinz beans.
Oh, my God.
With a fried egg, sunny side up, and some grated shred over the top. Grated cheddar over the top.
You ordered that on purpose?
Because you can't buy these. This.
Sorry.
First time behind the desk. This is a British staple. This is from my homeland of Canada and the Brits. This is beans. You know beans on toast?
Yes.
It's a thing, but this is the thing it's with. Not like baked beans.
Not Bush's baked beans. Those Heinz baked beans.
This is the rich tomato sauce. What do they call it?
I think that's what they also call bangers and mash. That's what you make with bangers and mash.
Not necessarily, but you can. But these are the beans you have. I can't buy these at any of my supermarkets. So.
Of course, you got to go on Amazon, and they got to be flown in from somewhere else.
Here's my Amazon orders.
Wow.
If anybody wonders what Sam the Cooking Guy's getting, it's this kind of nonsense.
8 pounds of panko and 12 ounces of beans.
Pounds.
Wow.
And 4 cans of Heinz baked beans and
That's
rich
great.
tomato sauce.
All right.
That's
Sam,
what you have for dinner.
You are the best, and I appreciate you coming on every month. And if you can believe it or not, I will see you again in April already of 2026. How about that?
You will. Hey, but let me just say this before you hang up. Hey, Malcolm, give me a call. Let's get together, buddy. We can do some great stuff.
All right.
I'll even come to you.
Thank you, Sam. Sam, the cooking guy right there. He better not. I don't think Malcolm is watching live, and I'm going to go in and edit that out in the post. I think Malcolm is an audio listener. So I'm going to, no offense, Sam, but I'm going to take that part out right at the end. You come to Cleveland. If you're going to Hernando, Mississippi, you fly right over Cleveland, Ohio. You can stop in and we'll go down together. We'll do a 3-person collab. Is that what they call it? All right, Amanda Micallef is up next. Stick around. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Whole packers, full racks, legs and thighs, injecting butts. If you've never heard this before, you might think you found the best XXX show ever. Let's get back to the most homoerotic host out there today, Greg Rempe.
And we thank Sam, the cooking guy, for joining us last segment. TheCookingGuy.com is his website, and that website will take you wherever else you want to go in the Sam, the Cooking Guy ecosystem. Coming out of the bullpen tonight is the Vice President of Marketing, my favorite cigar brand, Micallef Cigars, here to talk about their latest release and what else they might have coming down the pike in calendar year 2026, or at least the first half. We race to the hotline and welcome back our friend Amanda Micallef to the show. Hey, Amanda.
Hi, how are you? Good evening.
I am well. Glad to have you back here on the show. Before we get going and get into some cigar talk, we have a Would You Rather YouTube poll question of the week that we're asking everybody, including all guests. So, Amanda, would you rather spend the night in a dumpster or in a porta potty?
Oh, man, a dumpster.
A dumpster. 67% of the YouTube voting public, down from 71% a segment ago, are also saying that they would rather stay in the dumpster. I'm with you, saying the cooking guy. Actually, all guests as well were choosing a dumpster. So I agree. I mean, you get into a bad porta potty and there's nowhere to run from it. I feel like the dumpster affords you some space to potentially run away from some bad areas and stretch out a little bit, as Mike Lang said. So in all events, probably more comfortable. All right, so before we talk about the new release this evening, let's check in on the past new release that we talked about when you were on towards the end of last September, which is Micallef Green. How is it being received by the consumer?
Very well.
Yeah.
Very well. To be perfectly frank, better than expected. We, I might have mentioned when I was on last, we made that cigar. It has a Matafina wrapper because we had some diehard ambassadors that love Matafina, and we had retired a previous Matafina blend. So it was, we thought we were kind of appeasing a loud minority, but wasn't really sure if it was going to be a big hit. It has been really well received, and we've been racing to make sure we keep up with demand ever since, which is a good problem to have, but an unexpected problem. So
when you're
fantastic.
slotting the green in production, were you on purpose going for less volume because of this appeasing of a vocal minority?
Yes.
Wow.
Like I said, it was our ambassadors. Our ambassadors are super important to us. And we certainly knew that there was a market for the Matafina, but we didn't expect it to be as big as it was for us. But and I'll be honest, I was surprised by the cigar. Matafina is not my favorite wrapper, but I really, really like the cigar. I think they just nailed something that it appeals to the Matafina smoker, but it also appeals to a lot of other smokers as well. So it's been a surprise a little bit in how well we knew it was a good cigar, but it's definitely been a surprise in how well it's been received, or how broadly, I should say, it's been received.
So until you mentioned either the one word or two words, Matafina, had no idea that was a wrapper in existence. Didn't know anything about it. Didn't know anybody that carried it. So
it's not a super prevalent wrapper. There have been different times where it's been more popular than others. It's actually a Brazilian varietal. And it has a little bit of an herbaceous kind of taste to it, and it does. I mean, it brings in some different flavors. But like I said, it snuck up on us. But I'll take that any day.
So I had never smoked it before. So my first experience is smoking a Micallef Green. And I would say at the moment, if I'm ranking through the colors at this point, my favorites in no particular order, because it's usually which one I'm smoking at the time is my favorite, is black, red, and green. And I didn't think green was going to be in the top three, but and it's like those are the top three, and then everything else is, like a step or two below. Not that they're not good. Just from a profile standpoint, I feel like those are similar in a sense, yet individually distinct all at the same time.
So it's interesting that you like those. They are absolutely individually distinct, whereas within the color series, there's a lot of overlap of different tobaccos, but black, red, and green actually have very specific different flavor profiles where blue and purple share some things, even red and purple share some things, but black, red, and green are each very, very different and meant to taste very different, but they are all on the more medium to full end of the spectrum. So it's, if you're a full-bodied smoker, and I know some of the other things that you like, you do sort of pull that direction, I'm not surprised that you like all three of them.
So let's get after it. There's a new color that has just been released. Micallef White is now out in Robusto and Toro Vitolas. So what can you tell us about this expression?
So a little bit the other end of the spectrum. So the idea behind white is to be on the lighter end of our cigars. We had actually intended, we thought we were very clever, and when we brought out black in 22, we thought we would immediately follow it up with white, and that white would be our, sort of spring of 23 release. but we sort of started getting blends in from the factory and we weren't very happy with them. And so we ended up holding the white release for, almost 3 years now, trying to make sure that we got something we were very, very happy with. We are ultimately very pleased, but it is definitely a cigar to appeal to sort of people who like a lighter cigar. It's a Connecticut wrapper. It has a broadleaf binder, which isn't something you see a lot in Connecticut's.
No.
It's the same binder that's actually on the red, but takes the cigar in a very different direction. So there's still a lot of sort of meatiness and savoriness to it for being a light smoke, but it's still a much lighter smoke than you're going to find in your black, red, or green.
So when you are into the blends of white, you're receiving them in, it's not meeting expectation. Like how do you communicate to the cigar makers, blenders, what you're looking for? And then is there just so much time between the two families that you can say things, they can pick up on it and give you something that's close, and then you work on it from there?
So a little bit, it's not easy. I mean, in addition to, there's a couple things that are sort of that make it hard. You said time, and not necessarily even it just takes time, partly because the way, and a lot of people travel down to the factory and spend a lot of time boots on the ground in the factory. We do have somebody who does go back and forth, but Dan and I spend our time really in the United States. Alan goes back and forth, but there's still time between trips. So the process is slow in that they roll a bunch of samples, we bring them up, everybody smokes them, we give our feedback. He goes back because there's a language barrier and things. So we've just found it's easier in person. So he tends to wait to give really meaningful feedback till he goes back. Then they roll a bunch more and they come back and forth. So, he's back and forth 4 to 6 times a year. So none of this is happening very quickly. In addition to that, cigars don't come together very quickly. So even when they're rolling things, they send him up with them. And a lot of times we'll smoke things right when he gets to the United States, but we still lay him down for another month or two minimum and smoke them again before we really make a decision. I may have mentioned, that, Purple, for example, the first few times we smoked Purple, we thought it was a terrible cigar. It was, we were 6+ months in before we actually smoked it and liked it. And actually it's one of my favorite blends. But the first time we smoked it, we were like, this is terrible. It's a cigar that needs a lot of time to come together. Black is the opposite of that. Black, you can pull a black off the table and it tends to smoke really well. So I think with white, it was partially just the process that took time, but also the hardest thing about rolling a great light-bodied cigar is to keep it light and approachable for everybody, but still have some complex flavors. And that's really what we kept working through, was that we would get cigars where we really liked the flavors, but we just felt like it was still too strong of a cigar, or the opposite. It was the lightness that we wanted, but it just smoked really flat, and you'd get halfway through the cigar and there was no dimension to it. And so it was just it was boring. And so it was trying to find some complexity while still keeping the cigar light. And that took a while.
Is that coming through whatever filler tobacco that you're using? Like, okay, it was not good this time. Let's change it out and use this.
Yeah. So what you're looking for is, a big driver of your taste, of course, is going to be the wrapper. And then and we knew we wanted a light cigar, which and we kind of knew it was probably going to be a Connecticut. So, I mean, that kind of pretty quickly defined. So you know what your wrapper is, and then you're playing with your binder and your filler tobaccos. So yeah, you're getting a lot of, your filler tobaccos are really akin to, your in your world, a dry rub or a marinade. It's the added flavors, but it's still not the main event, right? Your binder takes on a little bit more of a focus, but not as much as the wrapper. And so I think really for us, the thing that unlocked it was trying the broadleaf binder. We knew that we liked sort of the seasoning, if you will, in the filler, and we knew we liked the wrapper, but it was really about finding kind of what was going to bring it together. And we played with a lot of things, and it was actually Dan who suggested, let's try a broadleaf on this. And it really did change the whole thing. It just moved it into a really smooth space while kind of bringing all the flavors together in a way that was really coherent.
So Dave Garofalo has said that the Micallef White will quickly become the best-selling color in the unofficial color series that Micallef has. Do you agree or disagree?
Well, statistically speaking, it should. There are more light smokers than anything else, even though, a lot of the media and a lot of the big voices in cigars, like big, bold cigars. So it would be easy to think, oh, heavy or strong cigars is where that. But when you actually look at what sells, volume wise, there are more people who smoke light, and we didn't really fit in that category. So it statistically should drive sales, and then he's a fan of it. So I think he's basically saying this is a great version of these light cigars. Therefore, I think it's going to take off. So, and I'll be honest, we're counting on it. Like we believe this will absolutely sell neck and neck, if not eventually pass Black Buy, which is still the best seller in this color series. But remarkably, all of the colors are closer together than you would think, or than I would have predicted when we started this. I've been surprised by how much there is parity between the different colors.
So if you weren't scaling up necessarily on the green because of Modafina, are you doing the exact reverse on the white?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. We've been bringing in white we probably had them, the first ones rolled for close to a year. We've been bringing them in for the last 7 or 8 months.
Wow.
Just logistically, it's easier for us to bring in, a sort of a move it full truckload from Esteli to Managua and bring those in. So we could go bigger shipments at once, but we kind of don't. But so yes, we've definitely been building up a great supply of white.
Are these only available still at Two Guys, or are they available nationally?
So they're shipping right now to stores all over the country, and they will be on sale nationwide on Friday.
On Friday, all right. Any other colors that are in this line, or are we tied up here?
No, so we've got orange will be the last in the color series, and orange will come out in September. It's also a Connecticut, but it's definitely more of a medium bodied, not your traditional Connecticut. And so that will be the last of sort of the colors in the color series. But at PCA in April, we're actually bringing out, so when you roll a cigar, you have these big leaves and you roll them into cigars, but you have trimmings. And so you end up with all these sort of odds and ends, it could, your burnt ends that, on, or your tenderloin tips, things like that, akin to that, to try to talk your language. And so we're actually bringing out a cigar in a Toro and a Gordo size that's what we call like a mixed fill cigar. It'll still have a wrapper that's long leaf, but the filler cigar will be a combination of long leaf and short ends, if you will. And but it's from all the colors. So it's kind of the leftovers of all these different color cigars will come together to make this Toro and this Gordo. So great tobacco, but a much more approachable. It'll, the Toro should retail for about $5. The Gordo should retail for about $6.60, bundled, not boxed, but just to kind of approach a totally different audience.
Let me ask a question about Connecticut wrappers. So I once fell for going off of color. Like, it looks light, it looks nice, and I smoked it, and all of a sudden thought I was going to get ready to pass out about 20 minutes in. It ended up being a Perdomo 10th anniversary champagne.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. And I said, wow.
It's famous for doing that to people.
Yeah.
You're not alone.
Is that just because of how it's made? And I guess the better question is, how do you know you're not going to potentially trick yourself into think you're getting a lighter cigar and you get one that kicks your ass?
So it's a great question, and color has very little to do with the strength of the cigar. People often mistake light cigars for being light in nicotine and dark cigars for being heavy. And a lot of times your darker cigars, your Maduros and stuff, will even have a sweetness to them that you don't get in your light. So it's a very easy way to confuse yourself. Where a lot of the nicotine is actually driven from what's called Ligero. And the Ligero, and so you can't, and the Ligero is almost always in your filler. You can't tell by looking at the cigar how much Ligero is in it. You're going to have to really know about the blend or talk to somebody who knows what they're doing. The champagne is a notoriously high nicotine, not high spicy flavor or strong flavor, but high nicotine cigar. And so it has caught so many people out. But even, we were talking about it this weekend on Cigar Authority, that even though we tried to roll a very, very light cigar, a lot of people are saying the Robusto in the white, while light and approachable and you could still give to anybody, don't kid yourself. It's still, you're still going to get a nice nicotine buzz off of it. And again, it's the same thing. I mean, we've in order to, I said we wanted a complex flavor cigar, and some of those complex flavors are driving up the nicotine a little bit.
Something completely different. You have new sizes and colors that we already have come to know and love, specifically the black and the red, now available in a Gordo vitola.
Yes.
So you've obviously done the market research. You've heard from customers that say they want a 6x60. How similar and how different are these compared to the Toro and Robusto version?
So the goal is to keep them really in line with the Toro side, right? Now, there's always a little nuance. In the Robusto, for instance, while the blends are exactly the same, you have 5 inches instead of 6 inches. And so you get to the strength or the sort of mid part faster. And so, you know, we talk about how the Robusto is a little more front loaded. The Gordos, you know, you want to try to step up into them and keep the blend as close as you possibly can. The trick, of course, is your ratio of filler to binder to wrapper is very, very different. And so it takes a lot of experimentation. In our case with black, especially being the fullest body cigar, we wanted to make sure that we brought that fullness forward to black. The first time, you know, we have released the Gordos only through two goes right now by design for a set of reasons. And part of it was to make sure before we went to whole production volumes, we really felt like the audience was there for the Gordos. People were responding to how we did these new blends. We're not a factory that does gobs and gobs of Gordos. That's not been our traditional audience. And, you know, feedback I got this weekend is that we maybe got it really did a really good job with the red. And not that the black isn't a great cigar and smoking great, but maybe we didn't bring enough of that strength forward in the black. And, you know, so we'll keep tweaking it. But that's the nice thing about getting to work with a group like Two Guys and starting in the scheme of things with a relatively small production run is that you can do it and play with it. And I think enough people at Two Guys and Cigar Authority, you know, appreciate what we're doing and know that this is, you know, sort of the beta, if you will, that we'll get good feedback, but not have no one's going to, you know, we're not going to have an issue about the fact that maybe we're going to go back and tweak it a little more before we do the next run. So it's an experiment. We're all kind of learning together.
Do you see a time when all the colors are getting multiple vitolas? You're going to see a bellicoso and a figurado and a blah, blah, blah.
I think we'll stop. I think, you know, we are prepared to do Gordos in all the colors if there's demand for it. But I think that the color series will stop with 3 sizes, at least for everyday production. Maybe we special edition a size here or there. But part of why the color series works and why it works at the price point it is the sort of discipline of these are the sizes, these are the boxes that we're getting. The boxes are all the same, you know, and the uniformity and the economy of scale is what allows us to bring those cigars forward at the price that we do. And so as much as I know everybody wants their favorite size, if we did that, we would kind of break that economy of scale that we have.
Are you surprised to see a demand for a 6x60 cigar?
I mean, surprised only in that, yes, but it's there. So, I mean, I'm not surprised anymore, but it is not, you know, I'm even more surprised for these 880s and these crazy sizes we're getting.
That's ridiculous.
You know, but it's not, I mean, I think a lot of people smoke them because they think they want the value. You know, people tend to bring Gordos out at a pretty aggressive price point. You know, you know, if you're bringing a Gordo out at sub $10, you are getting a lot of tobacco for not a lot of money. So I guess I can understand people's interest. For me, it's not my favorite smoking experience.
Yeah.
You know, a blender it's never the size that they blend in, right? You know, you tend to blend in even, you know, you blend in 36, 32, 40 ring gauges and then size up from there. So for, you know, the ratios are off to a blender. It's sort of not a cigar smoker cigar, but you know, at some point you give the people what they want and people want them. There's no question about that.
Last question before I let you go and appreciate the time tonight. Is there anything that me as a consumer needs to know about, worry about, or be concerned with as it relates to tariffs right now in cigars?
I don't think so. I mean, everybody is watching them. If anything, the tariff maybe just got a little bit less in Nicaragua and possibly a tiny bit more in the Dominican Republic. I don't think we're going to see giant slingshotting tariffs around cigars. But it's a pretty fluid tariff market. There's no good guess either of like, oh, you should be stocking up on X because it's going to go up and Y isn't. It's too hard to say. You know, certainly, in tariffs aside, the geopolitical nature of Nicaragua is certainly more volatile than that of the Dominican Republic.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess if there's somewhere where you might think that there could ever be an issue, I would say Nicaragua over the Dominican Republic. But the reality is Nicaragua needs the cigar trade to continue. And so even if things get more volatile down there, I still think that they're going to protect the cigar trade. I think it would be too crippling. So I think it's a reasonably safe bet. But we keep an eye on it.
Do you have a contingency plan? Like if things
We
meet a
have
certain benchmark,
plans.
do you believe?
We don't have a like, I don't have a secret factory in the Dominican Republic, but we certainly have we have talked about, and we are always talking about what we would do. It is why we do keep a lot of, our biggest contingency plan is we keep a lot of inventory in the United States. And, a lot of people don't, because it sucks up cash. You pay a federal cigar tax when things come into the country, so the more you keep here, the longer time it takes to turn the inventory, obviously. But for us, that's sort of the first and foremost. If we have enough inventory here, it gives us a lot of optionality if something should happen with where we want to go. And so that's the biggest way we manage it. And then meanwhile, always kind of have ideas in the back of our heads of what we would do.
The good news is the white is shipping out nationwide here, so they should be in brick and mortars this coming Friday. So if you have a Micallef retailer near you, visit and get a box or two, smoke them, let me know what you think, let Amanda know what you think, and we'll be excited to see the orange come down the pike too. So whenever you're ready to come back on and talk about anything with cigars, Amanda, love to have you back.
Sounds good. Thanks so much.
You got it. Amanda Micallef right there. I can't wait. The white is here, and I'm a fan. So, obviously, if you know anything about the lines, I skew a little bit more medium to full, but I have never said no to a great Connecticut wrapper. The broadleaf makes it a little bit more unique as well. So excited to get my hands on the white. Compare that to the rest of the line. Maybe I have 4 favorite cigars. Maybe that one takes over the lead. Who knows? Indeed, I was intently listening. Amanda, traveling extensively, was up in New Hampshire for a live appearance on the Cigar Authorities podcast with Mr. J, of course. Ed Sullivan, Dave Garofalo, all the high swingers up there. And then back down to Texas, doing a spot here on this show a couple days later. So appreciate the insight and the announcement. Looking forward to trying out some of the Micallef whites. You should too. Again, will be available in retail stores. Should be hitting your retail stores this coming Friday. So only in a couple more days. So try them out. Let me know what you think. All right, we are going to come back and wrap this show up right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Let's get back to a guy who has more experience giving you his opinion than he actually has cooking. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
And we thank Amanda Micallef for joining us last segment. MicallefCigars.com is the website, Micallef, MicallefCigars.com. Follow him socially at Micallef Cigars. And it's the white. And then if you're a fan of the red or the black color series cigars, which I am, the 6x60 is also available, but only at the number2guyscigars.com. So if you would like to get your hands on some Gordos of either the red or the black or both, then you need to head over to 2 Guys in order to get them. All right, let's go ahead and get out of here. All the way back in the first hour, there was a Malcom Reed. There was also a Mike Lang visit, How to Barbecue Right, and Another Pint Please, respectively. Second hour, Sam the Cooking Guy, and closed it out with Amanda Micallef from Micallef Cigars. Big show planned for you next week. Meathead is going to be in next week, and I have all of the sound clips ready to go with people that have appeared on this show over the last number of weeks that believe bone adds flavor to meat and that they do not believe in the scientific testing that Meathead did showing that bone does not contribute flavor to the meat. Excited to get Meathead all riled up about that. Also, we have a Robert Moss segment, just to name a few. So, How Do I Always Leave You? September 11th, 2001. I will never forget. And until next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, this is your program host and proud U.S. American Greg Rempe saying, Shamo! Shamo!
And you're listening to BBQ Central.